Most people wear their fragrances wrong, even if their fragrance is good quality and fits them well. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you the 7 most common mistakes I see people making and how to fix them properly so the money you spend on the fragrance is actually worth it. So the first mistake comes from before buying the fragrance. Walk into any department store fragrance section, watch what people do. They spray fragrance on the paper strip, wave it around, smell it, and decide whether to buy $150 bottle based on that 5-second experience. This is insane. Paper strips don't have skin chemistry. They don't have body heat. They don't interact with the fragrance the way your skin does. A fragrance that smells incredible on paper can smell completely different on your skin, and you won't know until you actually test it properly. Fragrances are designed to interact with your skin's natural oils, pH levels, and warmth. On paper, you're smelling a flat, one-dimensional version. The fragrance doesn't develop the way it does on skin. The base notes don't come through properly. You're making a purchasing decision based on incomplete information. I've seen people buy fragrances that smelled amazing on the test strip, spray them on their skin, and immediately regret it. The warm vanilla that smelled cozy on paper turns glowing and sweet on their skin. The fresh citrus that seemed perfect becomes sharp and aggressive. The paper lied. The fix is simple. Test on your skin, spray it on your wrist or the back of your hand. Wait at least an hour. Let it move through the top notes into the heart. See how it actually smells on you, not on a piece of cardboard. Mistake 2. Buying full bottles based on the first spray. This connects directly to the first mistake, but the worth breaking out separately because it's such a common trap. The first spray of a fragrance, those opening top notes, is not what you're going to smell like 3 hours later. Top notes can evaporate anywhere from about 15 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the composition. What you smell initially is almost always the brightest, freshest, most attention-grabbing part of the fragrance. It's designed to hook you. But what you're actually going to live with, what people around you will smell for most of the day, is the heart notes and base notes. And sometimes those are completely different from the opening. I've bought fragrances that opened with this beautiful citrus and bergamot blast, really fresh and clean. 2 hours later, it dried down to this weird, soapy musk that I couldn't stand, but I'd already committed to a full bottle based on the first 30 seconds. The fragrances that smell incredible at first but terrible later are usually the ones with aggressive synthetic top notes and weak bases. All flash, no substance. They grab your attention in the store, but they don't have the depth to maintain that quality as they develop. The smart approach is to get a sample or a decant first. Wear it for a full day. See how it opens, how it transitions, how it dries down. See if you still like it at hour 4, hour 6, hour 8. Then decide if you want the full bottle. Decant culture exists for exactly this reason. You can buy 5 ml or 10 ml samples of almost any fragrance for a fraction of the bottle price. Test it properly. If you still love it after wearing it 3 or 4 times, commit to the full bottle. If you don't, you saved your $100 on the mistake. For me personally, I never blind buy full bottles anymore. I've been burned too many times. I get samples, I wear them for at least a week, and only then do I decide. It's saved me thousands. Mistake 3. Ignoring seasonal appropriateness. Fragrance performance is heavily affected by temperature. A fragrance that works beautifully in 15-degree weather can become completely unwearable in 30-degree heat or fail entirely in freezing cold. Heavy vanillas, thick ambers, dense orientals, These are cold weather fragrances. They are designed to work when it's cool outside and you're layered in clothing. Wear them in summer heat and they become cloying, suffocating, headache-inducing. The heat amplifies the sweetness and projection to uncomfortable levels. I see people wearing something like the original Kilian Angel's chair in July and wondering why everyone around them looks nauseous. It's a beautiful fragrance, but it's a cool weather fragrance, not a hot weather one. For the summer, the On the Rocks version actually fixes this. Different scent, same DNA. On the flip side, fresh aquatics and light citrus that work perfectly in summer heat completely disappear in winter. The cold air suppresses projection and longevity. You spray 5 times and by the time you get to your car, it's already fading. Temperature affects how fragrance molecules evaporate. Heat accelerates evaporation, which is why fragrances project more in summer, but also why they can become overwhelming. Cold slows evaporation, which is why you need richer, denser fragrances to maintain presence in winter. The solution is to build seasonal relations instead of trying to find year-round scents. Have your summer lineup of fresh, light, citrus-forward fragrances. Have your winter lineup of warm, sweet, spicy compositions. Swap them out as weather changes. Are there fragrances that work across all seasons? A few, usually woody aromatics or balanced compositions that don't lean too fresh or too heavy, but most fragrances are designed with a season in mind, whether explicitly or not. Stop fighting the seasons. Match your fragrances to the temperature and you'll get better performance and better reactions. Mistake 4. Buying fragrances that smell good on others. This is way too common. Your friend wears a fragrance that smells incredible. You compliment them on it. They tell you what it is. You go buy the same bottle. Spray it on yourself and it smells completely different. Not bad necessarily, but not the same magic it had on them. This happens because body chemistry is individual. Your skin's pH level, your natural oils, your diet, medications you take, even your stress levels. All of this affects how a fragrance develops on your skin. The same fragrance can smell sweet on one person and sharp on another. Warm on one person, cool on another. Long-lasting on one person, gone in 2 hours or another. It's not the fragrance's fault, it's chemistry. I've had people ask me what I'm wearing, go buy the same bottle, and then message me confused because it doesn't smell the same on them. I have to explain that skin chemistry isn't universal. What works on me might not work on you. This is especially true with the influencer effect. You watch a fragrance YouTuber or TikToker rave about a scent. They describe it as magical, unique, incredible. You buy based on their review and on your skin, it's just okay or worse, it smells off. The camera lies, description lie, other people's experiences don't transfer directly to you. The only way to know if a fragrance works on you is to test it on your actual skin. Mistake 5. Building a collection of similar fragrances. Open the average person's fragrance collection and you'll see the same fragrance 10 times with different labels. 5 popular crowd pleasures that all live in roughly the same fresh, easy designer zone. Sauvage, Acqua di Gio, Bleu de Chanel, White by YSL, Versace, Dylan Blue, technically different families. Sauvage leans fresh spicy. Bleu de Chanel is woody aromatic. Acqua di Gio and Dylan Blue are aquatic. White is fresh aromatic, but in practice, they all serve roughly the same role. Safe, fresh, broadly liked, daytime appropriate. So you reach for whichever bottle is closest and the others gather dust. This happens because people buy based on hype and trends without considering what they already own. A new fresh fragrance gets popular, they buy it, but they already have 3 fresh fragrances in the rotation. Now they have 4 that all do the same job. The result is bloated collection with massive redundancy. You've spent $500 on 5 bottles when you really only needed 1. The other 4 are backup options you rarely touch. Building a good collection means diversification. You want fragrances that serve different purposes, cover different occasions, offer different moods. Having 10 fresh designer fragrances doesn't give you options, it gives you redundancy. Before buying a new fragrance, ask yourself, what gap does this fill in my collection? Do I already have something that does this? If you have 3 fragrances that all sit in that fresh designer for daytime zone, you don't need a 4th. You need something different. A smoky leather, a green vetiver, a true oriental marine fragrance like the Mise tonic water I just talked about. Something that adds a new dimension. This is why understanding fragrance families and categories matters. Not so you can be pretentious about perfumery, but so you can identify what you actually need versus what's just another version of what you already own. For me, I actively avoid redundancy. If I'm looking at a new fragrance and I realize it's too similar to something I already have, I pass. I'd rather have 10 distinct fragrances than 30 variations on the same theme. Stop collecting duplicates. Start building a functional wardrobe where every bottle has a distinct role. Mistake 6. Falling for marketing over actual quality. Fragrance marketing is designed to make you want the bottle before you even smell what's inside. Beautiful packaging, celebrity endorsements, limited edition labels, exclusive releases. All of it is engineered to create desire that has nothing to do with the actual liquid. Expensive packaging doesn't mean good fragrance. Some of the best fragrances I own come in simple bottles. Some of the worst come in elaborate, heavy, expensive-looking presentations. The money they spent on the bottle had to come from somewhere, and often it came from the fragrance budget. Limited editions are especially guilty for this. They take a regular fragrance, put it in a different bottle or box, call it limited edition, charge $50 more, and people buy it thinking it's special. A lot of the time, it's the exact same juice. You're paying for the packaging. Celebrity fragrances are another trap, with rare exceptions. Celebrities' fragrances are cash grabs. A celebrity licenses their name, a corporation formulates a generic crowd-pleasing scent, they market it heavily, and people buy it because they like the celebrity. The fragrance itself is usually mediocre at best. And then there are the exclusive releases that are marketed as rare, special, artisan creations. But when you actually smell them, they are no different from mass-market designer fragrances. The exclusivity is manufactured, the quality isn't there to back it up. The way to avoid this is to train yourself to ignore marketing and trust your nose. Don't buy a fragrance because the bottle looks cool. Don't buy it because it's limited edition. Don't buy it because a celebrity's name is on it. Buy it because you've smelled it, tested it on your skin, worn it for a day, and decided it's worth the money. Quick aside, since we're literally just talking about marketing over quality, a part of why I'm so direct about this is that I'm building a fragrance brand myself. And it's structured around the exact problem we just covered. Small house, online only, for people who don't want to smell like everyone else. The supply on each release is genuinely small, not limited edition as a marketing line. but small because the naturals I want to use don't exist at scale. The way I am structuring it, no retail margin, no department store, all of that overhead goes back into the materials. So the cost ratio of actual perfume oil, naturals, and the things bigger brands can't afford to use at high concentration is significantly higher than what you'd get at the same price point from mainstream houses. If that sounds like your thing, the waitlist is in the description. Link to the website is down there. You sign up once, and that's how you get notified when a release opens up. Same website also has a weekly newsletter I write, observation from the fragrance industry, things I find interesting, the kind of stuff I'd send to a friend who's into perfume. It is not promotional. There's no discount code, no buy this, no sales pitch. If you never buy a single bottle from me, the newsletter still works for you. If that sounds useful, subscribe. If not, ignore it. No hard feelings. Okay, back to the list. Mistake 7. Not considering your actual lifestyle. This is the mistake that results in the most unworn bottles. People buy fragrances that don't fit their actual life, and those bottles sit on the shelf forever. If you work in a corporate office with a strict dress code and conservative culture, you don't need a loud nightclub fragrance that projects 10 feet. You'll never wear it to work. And if you only go out on weekends, that's 1 or 2 wears per month. It's a waste. If you're at the gym 5 days a week, you need fragrances that work with sweat and physical activity. Heavy ambers and sweet vanillas are going to smell weird when you're sweating. Fresh, clean, simple fragrances work better, but people buy the heavy stuff anyway because it smelled good in the store. If you work night shifts and your morning is 8 p.m., traditional daytime fragrances don't make sense for you. Your schedule is different. Your fragrance rotation should match your actual schedule, not some generic day-night split. The bottle people never wear are the ones that don't fit their routine. The formal fragrance they bought for weddings when they only attend one wedding every 2 years. The summer vacation scent when they don't take beach vacations. The date night fragrance when they're in a long-term relationship, and casual nights at home are more common than fancy dinners out. Before buying a fragrance, ask yourself, when will I actually wear this? If the answer is special occasion, and you don't have many special occasions, you are buying a bottle that will sit unused. Match your collection to your real life, not your fantasy life. If you work from home in sweatpants, you don't need a power fragrance for boardroom meetings. If you're single and going out every weekend, you don't need 7 office-appropriate fragrances. Be honest about your lifestyle and buy accordingly. Every bottle should have a clear, regular use case. Otherwise, it's just decoration. Most fragrance mistakes happen before you ever spray a bottle. They happen in the store when you're testing wrong, buying impulsively, ignoring your actual lifestyle, and falling for marketing instead of trusting your nose and your schedule. If you also want a full guide on how to wear your cologne so you smell good all day, you can click here. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. If this saves you from even one bad purchase, it was worth it.